Let's just cut right to it. Why aren't you in control of your own life? After all the hard work, all the effort, why does it still feel like you're just a piece on a board, being moved around by forces you can't even see? Well, the answer is as simple as it is brutal. It's because you are playing a game where you don't even know the rules, a deep psychological game that's running in the background of every interaction, dictating who wins, who gets respect, and who gets left behind. But you know what? That ends today, right here, because this is where we hand you the psychological playbook for the game of life. We don't do comfort here, we deal in truth. So let's get started. All right, let's dive right in. The very first rule you have to internalize is this. Every single human social interaction, every single hierarchy you've ever been in or ever will be, it all runs on two primal codes, just two. Two fundamental strategies for how power is won. So on one side, you've got dominance. This is the old way. It's the strategy we share with our primate ancestors, right? It's power that is taken through force, through coercion, through intimidation. But then there's the other path, prestige. And this is totally different. This is power that is given to you. It's freely handed over by other people in exchange for your value, for your expertise, for your wisdom. One is taken, the other is earned. And this is where you really see the divide. Look at how they actually work. The dominance approach, it's all about aggression, threats, and putting yourself first. It uses its formal authority to make people comply. And emotionally, it literally works by triggering fear and stress in other people. It forces them to fall in line. Now, the prestige strategy couldn't be more different. It's built on showing wisdom, on having real expertise, on leading from behind. And the emotional impact, it inspires genuine respect. It inspires admiration. It creates a real desire in other people to follow you and to learn from you. See the difference? One creates subjects, the other creates willing followers. And that quote right there from the evolutionary psychologist Joey Chang, it just nails the fundamental weakness of that first path. Sure, intimidation gets you compliance in the short term, no doubt. But power that's built on pure dominance is incredibly unstable. And why is that? It's because we as humans have evolved this deep instinctual resistance to it. We team up, we form coalitions, and we topple those who try to rule us through fear alone. It is a game with a very, very short shelf life. Okay, so that brings us to the next, deeper layer of these unspoken rules. If prestige is clearly the more stable, more powerful path to influence, why do so many people default to dominance? Or even worse, just passive followership? Well, the answer isn't something external. It's an internal cognitive trap. It's a glitch in the mindset. And it all comes down to this one powerful concept, psychological ownership. Now, this has nothing to do with legal contracts or stock options. This is a state of mind. It's a feeling where you see a project or your team or your company's mission as a fundamental extension of you. When you have this, work just stops being a simple transaction of your time for money. It becomes a personal mission. This right here, this is the cognitive engine that drives every single true leader. And just look at the massive difference in how people habitually respond. You see, when it comes to control, the follower, they just wait. They wait for step-by-step instructions. But the leader, they proactively go out and seek autonomy. They define the path forward. In terms of identity, the follower sees their work as just a job. It's a source of income, a task giver. But the leader with ownership, they see the organization's success as their own personal success. And what about impact? The follower feels disconnected, right? Like they're just a tiny cog in some giant impersonal machine. The leader, on the other hand, understands precisely how every single one of their actions connects to the bigger picture. And listen, this is the crucial part. The opposite of ownership isn't just not caring, no. It's something far more corrosive. It's psychological entitlement. It's that cognitive trap, that deep-seated belief that you are owed rewards just for showing up, completely detached from the actual value you create. And the outcomes of these two mindsets? They couldn't be more different. Ownership is a value creator. It naturally fosters innovation, resilience, and a culture of knowledge sharing that gives a team a massive competitive advantage. Entitlement, on the other hand, is a value destroyer. It breeds stagnation, fragility, and one of the absolute most toxic behaviors you'll find in any organization, knowledge hiding. That's when people who feel entitled deliberately withhold critical information just to protect their own status, sabotaging the entire team in the process. So the big question is, how do you actually build this habit of ownership? How do you become the architect of it inside yourself? Well, it all comes down to a single, incredibly powerful behavior. A behavior that separates leaders from followers more than anything else. We have to make a really critical distinction here. Most people talk about accountability, but accountability is reactive. It's about being answerable for results after things have already happened. And yeah, most people are willing to be accountable. But responsibility, that is proactive. That is the mindset that says, before anything even begins, I am the person who must make this succeed. It is preemptive ownership of the outcome. And just look at how this plays out in the real world. When something goes wrong, the follower's default setting is blame shifting. It's a communication tactic designed to avoid blame and protect their self-image. And the result? It absolutely destroys trust and kills creativity stone dead. The leader, who operates from a place of responsibility, does the exact opposite. They take responsibility. They acknowledge their role. They frame the failure as a chance to learn. And that doesn't show weakness. It builds unshakable trust and psychological safety for everyone around them. And the data on this, it's completely unequivocal. Research shows that teams with high levels of psychological ownership don't just feel better, they perform better. We're talking 35% better results in creative and complex tasks. 35%! And why is that? It's because for them, the work is no longer just a task. It's become a part of their identity. So if ownership is the mindset and responsibility is the behavior, then what's the operating system? How does a true leader actually process reality and execute decisions with superior speed and accuracy? Well, the answer comes to us from military strategy. It's called the OODA loop, and it was developed by the military strategist John Boyd. Now, on the surface, it looks pretty simple. You observe what's happening in the environment, you orient yourself to the situation, you decide on a course of action, and then you act. A nice, clean 4-step cycle. But that simple, linear understanding of the OODA loop, that's a lie. It's a dangerous myth that will get you completely outmaneuvered by anyone who understands the powerful truth hiding underneath. So here's the reality. The OODA loop is not a straight line. It's a dynamic, messy feedback loop. Orientation isn't just one of the steps, it is the central engine. It's the cognitive filter that shapes how you see everything. Your decisions, they're just hypotheses, and your actions, they're experiments to test those hypotheses. And the real goal, it isn't just to be fast. The real goal is to get inside your opponent's decision cycle. It means you act in a way that makes their entire orientation to reality obsolete. You force them to react to a world that you've already changed, while you are operating 2 steps ahead. And that brings everything together. You see, all of these unspoken rules, dominance versus prestige, entitlement versus ownership, blame versus responsibility, they all lead to this moment. They culminate in a choice about the fundamental strategy you will use to engage with reality itself. This is the choice you are facing every single day, whether you realize it or not. Will you choose the path of force, which gets you compliance, or the path of influence, which earns you loyalty? The path of fear or the path of respect? A life of empty transactions or a life dedicated to a mission? The unspoken rules have now been spoken. The playbook is in your hands, but with this knowledge comes a new burden. Because from this moment on, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You now know how the game is played. So now you are standing at a crossroads, and the real question is this. Are you going to continue to live as a pawn, just reacting to forces you don't understand? Or are you going to make the commitment right now to see reality as it truly is and finally take control of the board? If you are ready to stop being a pawn, then your training starts now. Subscribe for the unfiltered truth. Like this to signal your commitment to awareness. Go to the comments right now and declare your choice, dominance or prestige. And ring the bell so you never ever fall back into ignorance again. The choice is yours. Make it.